6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are you ready?
The CJ Howard Show. Now let's go to CJ Howard. Season of the CJ Howard Show, number 3, coming up for the season, episode number 1, as we get set to bring you another exciting season of the CJ Howard Show, pumped up and ready to go. It's going to be really fun. We've got a lot going on. We're going to talk a lot of topics. Still in my home in Barberville, but we're going to talk about me maybe getting out of this home and maybe traveling a little bit later in the year. Hopefully things will work out for me. You can watch us tonight live on the Facebook, live on the YouTube, and also live on the D&D Sports Network. Now on Facebook, you can watch me on my Facebook sports page, the CJ Howard sports page. I'm not on my regular Facebook, but if you'll maybe share that, then maybe some others could keep watching it there. So that's what you'll have to do for right now. I've got the co-host of co-hostess, the man of the man, the man of the myth, the legend, Tanner Hesterberg with me tonight. I'm going to let him speak in just one second, but I'm going to go over our guest list. Let Tanner chime in here. We're going to have John Henson here in just about less than 10 minutes. He's going to talk to us about a lot of things. More basketball with him than football, because I don't think he's had a lot of time diving into the football, but we'll get with football him. Post-up Max Johnson with us at 8:30. Now, I've talked to Coach Howard. If something happens we can't get Max tonight, I think Coach Howard's going to come on in his spot. So we'll have maybe 1 or 2, or we'll have not with us. Go ahead and go on. 9 o'clock, Chris Larker is going to be with us back home, and we'll see how this summer's been for the first Rockcastle team under his new regime. Dealing with John, we're going to pick his brain at 9:30. I know he's not going to give me his top 10 because they ain't going to come out until Thursday night, but I think I might be able to give him spill a few teams there and there. I've got my top 10. I'm going to go ahead and give it to him when we see him in just a little while. But as I said, the myth, the man, the legend, Mr. Tanner Hesterberg is with me tonight. Tanner, it's awesome to have you with us.
Well, CJ, once again, it's another edition of me co-hosting the CJ Howard Show, and another instance of you being way too kind in your introduction. So thank you for having me back, and I'm looking forward to spending a couple hours with you. This is always one of my favorite times of the year here in mid to late August, where we are anticipating the start of another high school sports season. Fall's around the corner. The leaves are going to start changing. There's going to be a crispness to the air and some pigskin flying. And certainly, CJ, we're mindful of a lot of our friends and neighbors who have been devastated by this flooding, and we're sending all the prayers and help we can for them. And I know that's a storyline we're going to talk about as we go throughout the night, especially with high school football beginning in a lot of these flood-ravaged communities. So we're thinking of them, and, in a way, you kind of feel guilty talking about something that's so fun as high school football when there's such tragedy around us. But this is what we have to do to carry on and try to pick up the pieces and move forward. And it's great to be back with you, and again, to spend a couple hours with you here on your show.
I know as we go back to a couple weeks ago, Tanner, once-in-a-lifetime event. May never see it again. Brandon said at the weather station there on WYMT. But I've not been amazed by the help by the Kentuckians. I've been more amazed by that people are dropping everything. And, I mean, they're dropping everything and going to these flood places. I know about flooding. If anybody, me and my 2 brothers, we lived beside a creek when we lived up Camp Creek, and we got flooded 6-7 times. I can tell you a story. One time, it was raining. We thought, I don't think the creek's going to rise. We're laying there about 2:30 in the morning. I feel something tickling my nose. I got water over my head. I'm drowning underwater. I have to get up, go get the rest of the people at our house, run them up the hill. So I know about flooding. I know about it, and I know I've had to go back in there, and clean the house after the damage. I know what it takes, and I feel for these people, and I want them to get their help. They need this help. If you're giving donations, continue to give donations. I want. They need everything. They need cleaning supplies. They need money to help build things. They need clothes. They need, everything. So continue to keep donating and doing what you're doing. But I understand. I know what they're going through because it's tough.
Yeah, I didn't know that anecdote from your younger years about the flooding you experienced. That's certainly terrifying, and glad you and your family made it through that okay. And you're right. A lot of these folks are beginning the rebuilding process. A lot of them are still mourning the loss of loved ones. And CJ, it's just, it's difficult to look at the damage that was done to some of these communities, and you begin to wonder how they're going to come back from it. I'm not a pessimist, but I'm a realist, and I worry about it. A lot of these tiny little communities that make Eastern Kentucky so special.
Yep.
I think of Fleming Neon took a really hard lick from this flood. Hindman. There's a dozen others you could name of these small little hollers and communities that just got wiped out. And certainly there will be folks that will never leave this area just because it's in their blood and it's all they know. But I just really worry it's going to be difficult to try to build back and restore to anything close to what we once had in these small communities. I think it will really take a miracle, and God can do that, and that's what we're hopeful for. But it will really take a miracle to get some of these communities back to where we were, and we'll never replace the loss of life.
No, you're right. Also, we need to also remember another tragedy that happened 2 weeks, or about a month before that one, and which was the shootings in Floyd County. We don't want to ever forget those people. They went through a very tragic situation before the floodings. So, but you live close to there. Talk a little bit about that too, because that was a devastating thing too.
Yeah, I live in Prestonsburg. I've lived here in Floyd County for a little over a year now. This is where my law practice is centered. And I didn't know those officers personally. I had seen them around in the community. I had seen them in the courtroom, maybe talked to them in passing. But they were all very highly respected, particularly Trooper Petrie, who was then Deputy Petrie, had a distinguished career with the Kentucky State Police and then became a Floyd County Sheriff's Deputy. Deputy Frazier was the school resource officer down at Prestonsburg. Again, just knew so many people in the community, kids that had matriculated through the school. And then Officer Chaffins with Prestonsburg PD, who was very, very young. He was very near the beginning of his career and was the canine handler. And of course, Drago, the canine unit who tragically was killed as well. Words fail you with something like that, CJ. It was a senseless crime. Mm-hmm. And, you can only pray that justice is done. And I think that an analogy to the flooding would be the outpouring of support we've seen in both cases. We saw support from across the nation flood in here in the aftermath for the funerals, for, the donations, for the families, for these funds to help the wives and children that were left behind by this awful shooting. And I don't know that I have much more to add beyond that, except that, that happened in Allen. And I don't think there was any flooding in Allen, but there was bad flooding in parts of Floyd County, in Garrett, in Wayland, in other areas of Floyd County. So this county in particular has been through a lot over the past month or so. And I think people are just emotionally wearisome from the past few weeks. And, Eastern Kentucky is a resilient people. We hear all the time about that Appalachian resiliency, but that resiliency is definitely being tested all across the mountains right now, particularly in Floyd County.
Yeah, we also don't need to forget about the tornado out in Mayfield before the shootings there. We've had 3 tragedies in 6 months, Tanner, that Kentuckians have had to pick up and had to go help. And every step of the way they've been nothing but giving their shirt off their back or giving what they need to make sure that people had a home to live in or something to eat or something to wear. And all the tragedies, all 3 of them. So we just want to continue that as well. But we want everybody to let it out there. We know we love you. We're supporting you, and continue these donations and things. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the show. Joining us right now from our good buddy, Mr. John Henson from over in Harlan County. He's teacher at Harlan County High School, writes for the Harlan County Enterprise, also covers all sports in Harlan. And I mean all sports. I mean, John, one night I called John. He was at a 5th and 6th girls basketball game. I said, well, you do it all, don't you, John? He said, yeah, I got covered up. John, good to have you with us.
Thanks, CJ. Good to be here.
A lot going on over there in Harlan County. I know you've not had probably hasn't had a time to really focus on football because the stories being over the summer has been the basketball story there in Harlan County. We, of course, everybody knows that Trent Noah left. He went to North Laurel, and then he came back to Harlan County. Now he's back enrolled in Harlan County. Tell me about this, whirlwind of things that's went on this summer because it's been wild.
Well, I didn't talk to Trent or his parents about that. I saw him early in the summer. He was playing with Harlan County, and then next thing I know, he's gone. Harlan County had a good summer anyway, 16-6. Maddox Huff really stepped up. Daniel Carmichael, Jonas Swanner, some of those guys, and had a nice summer. And they were going to be ranked 4th in the 13th region anyway. But Trent is such a tremendous player that we're happy to have him back in Harlan County. Certainly, I've watched him almost every game the last 3 years, and All-State player last year, 2nd team All-State, Courier Journal, and the Lexington Herald leader. He's in position to be the all-time leading scorer at Harlan County High School before he's finished. Several Division I schools are interested. Several have already offered, so I'm happy he's back and looking forward to watching Harlan County and Harlan this upcoming basketball season.
It's going to be interesting around the board because there's a lot of new coaches in the 13th region, a lot of new some new players we're hearing over the summer. I know some teams have had some new kids step up, but they wouldn't be depending on or stepping up depending on. I think you talk about that. You're the district you guys are in. It's tough every year, but I feel like maybe Harlan might take a step back because with still Coach Cal behind the coaching there, he's going to have a younger team to play with. He still have like 3 starters back. You guys have almost every one of your starters back. Bell has to reload a little bit, and then of course Middlesboro, who I think is going to be a lot better next year under new. They also have a new coach.
Yeah, well, just to kind of run down the list there, Harlan just lost 1 starter. I mean, he's a very good starter. Jordan Cal, who's been a 5-year starter, one of the all-time leading scorers at Harlan. But the COVID thing, where you got that extra year if you applied for it, ended up helping Harlan quite a bit. You've got Gist back, you've got both McClendon's back, you've got Will Austin back, all seniors. So they're going to be actually quite a bit older than Harlan County this year. They're going to be the most experienced team in the district, and they're probably a top 5, top 6 team in the region with those guys. Now, they do lose their leader, no question about that. Jordan Cal's been the player there for the last 4 or 5 years, but they're still going to be a strong team. I still think they're the All-A favorite. Barberville has a senior-dominated team also. I think those two probably are going to be battling for it. And then as far as Bell County, they lose 4 starters, 7 players altogether, so they got hit really hard. Dawson Willem is back, and he had just an awesome postseason last year to get Bell into the regional semifinals. So they're going to rebuild around him. Middlesboro lost 3 to 4 starters, so they struggle a little bit. new coach, John Weed. I got to talk to him this summer. Working really hard. Seemed like a great guy. They do have some talent. Caden Grigsby is one of the best players in the region, but they're still probably coming in as the underdog as they kind of rebuild over the last couple of years.
I know that a lot of people's focusing on football as we get set for it to come up start Friday night. What's been are you guys in school yet? I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah. Last week was the first week, so I'm senior English teacher, John Henson, during the daylight hours,
and a very good senior teacher, I may say. Let's talk a little football. I know you've not had much time to really look into it. I'll guide you along. You can guide me too. Harlan County, for the first time in school history, did not make playoffs last year. And I'm thinking that probably left a big sting for those kids. Tell me how they're going to be able to get back in the playoffs when Perry Central has got probably, I think, one of the best quarterbacks in the Sloan kid. They picked up. They've got a lot of returning players. Clay County's got Tate Rice with Johnson Central loaded up again, But talk about Harlan County, because I know I saw their preview and they seem excited. They seem focused.
Well, yeah, but the preview. Everyone seems excited on the previews, though. If you notice that Tanner's been involved on the TV side of it. You don't come in and say, they're going to be awful this year. But no, Harlan County's, they're going to be better. How much better? We don't know yet. It comes down to one thing to me. They just didn't tackle people last year. It was just unbelievably bad as far as tackling, and they had trouble stopping anyone. I saw them scrimmage over at Shelby Valley last night. They looked good. They beat McGoffin County 34-8. Moved the ball. Thomas Jordan, 3 touchdowns. He's taken over as kind of the primary back with DeMarco Hopkins graduating. And the defense looked better. Only gave up one big play the entire evening. But you're right. It's missing the playoffs for the first time was tough. Harlan County started out in, not many programs have started out as well as Harlan County did. 3 regional championships in the first 7 years or so of their existence, and not even close to having a losing record for the first 6-7 years. Made the playoffs every year. So it's a rebuilding situation. Coach McCree kind of came into a tough situation last year. We knew that they were going to be kind of starting over. They won the opener against South Laurel, then they went through a losing streak there and didn't really recover. But, a lot of skill guys back. Jonas Swanner, Mitch and Thomas Jordan, Ethan Reimer back at quarterback, a lot of linemen back, Shoemaker, Cassim, Connor Blevins. So, I think the opportunity is there for them to be better. But as you pointed out, that district's pretty tough, and they lost all 4 games in it last year. Who would I rank ahead of? Who would I rank Harlan County ahead of right now? Nobody until we see them win some games.
Yeah, I think the one thing too is in Harlan County that it makes them more hungrier to want to be able to make sure they get a playoff spot. 1, number 2, make sure you can get a home playoff game, because that's the most important thing. Realignment is going to be rearing its head pretty soon. I know they're going to be releasing the rough draft of what it's going to look like. And there's a lot of rumors that Johnson Central that district will probably be the same minus 1 Johnson Central, which is, I'm hearing, is going to be sent to the Greenup County district, which is smart because that's easier travel for those for them teams in that area. But I don't know, is the enrollment at Harlan County, are they close to being 3A, or will they stay 4A for a long time?
No, they're not. We were almost 6A when the school opened. They barely made it into 5A. The enrollment's dropped. It's down to the 900s, I think, last year with COVID and all that. But no, I don't think that's going to happen anytime, at least not in the next 4 years. That news about Johnson Central, though, is going to just destroy all of us over here. No, I'm just kidding. Johnson, they've just dominated the district over the last 4 years, and I'm sure Perry and Clay and Letcher will all agree with us in Harlan County that that'll be okay with us if they want to move them up north.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing they're going to be because of the travel situations that And I understand if they do that because you got Perry Central, you guys haven't traveled what 3+ hours, almost 4 to go to Johnson Central for a game.
Yeah, maybe 3. I don't know. Tanner's probably driven over there more than I have, but it's a long trip. But everywhere's a long trip when you're in Harlan County. That's just kind of a running joke that the 13th really isn't wild about having us over here. They complain when we have the regional tournament. We talked about moving to the 14th. They're not happy about that either. Nobody wants to drive to Harlan. I love Harlan. Been here all my life except for a few years at Eastern. But, the roads, we have been left behind. Once the 4th largest county in Kentucky in the 1930s and 40s, we've kind of been ignored, I think, for a long time. And this is not an easy way to get here. Into Pineville is not too bad. The road to Whitesburg's better now. But, there's not a whole lot of close games for us.
Just want to get your thoughts on Harlan Independent, and I'll let you go. I know that you probably haven't got a chance to see them scrimmage or play practice a little bit, but I'm expecting a little bit better play from them this year. I'm expecting Harlan to be more effective.
Well, they have a lot of people back. I think 8 starters both ways. They lose Cade Middleton, their quarterback, probably their best player the last couple of years. So that's going to be an adjustment. But they have a lot of weapons. Will Austin really came on last year as a senior receiver. Just a really nice athlete. Jaden Ward's been around forever, it seems. He's a senior running back. Montenero's going to move in at quarterback this year. He's pretty athletic. Darius Akal in the backfield, Jordan's cousin. Coach Acal's nephew, and the line is all back. They had 4 guys back that are coming from last year's team that started and kind of learned. They kind of learned on the job last year. They had a little tough time early on, but they got better. It's going to come down to Harlan and Pineville again, most likely. If you assume Williamsburg's the favorite, and no reason they shouldn't be. They won it 6 years in a row, I think. Haven't lost a game since 2015 in the district. So Harlan, Pineville. Pineville beat Harlan by 3 points last year, I think, and beat them by a touchdown the year before. Both games came right down the wire in the first round of the playoffs, and I expect another matchup between the Lions and the Dragons to determine who gets to play Williamsburg in the playoffs are different this year, but who would be who gets that first playoff win?
We're going back to the old playoff system. We're going to talk about that later as we go along. Want to let everybody know, if you're a Harlan fan, you open up with Berea, and you'll be traveling to Berea on Friday night. And if you're a Black Bear fan, you'll be at home as the Cardinals come calling on the Black Bears Friday night. That'll be a 7:30 kick there at the Coal Miners Stadium there in Harlan County. John, one final comment, and I'll let you go. With school starting, how's it going to look this year? Because I know some of the COVID restrictions have been mowed down a little bit, but how's it going to look? Is it going to look a lot different, or how's it going to look?
One thing before I forget, Harlan isn't home. It must be posted somewhere there on the road because I've had several people say that, but they're both playing at home, Harlan and Harlan County. Okay. As far as school, it's kind of back to normal. No mask, and it just feels like we're back to where we were 3 years ago. We just hope we can stay there. It's so much easier to teach and to get points across and to teach the kids what we're trying to get across to them without all these distractions. So we're just hoping for the best and have a normal school year.
Well, John, you're a tremendous. I love having you on the show. You're always knowledgeable. I'm going to bring you back right before basketball gets ready to start. We'll break down that 13th region nose to nose because it's going to be an interesting year over there because I think we're going to have a couple of new teams, I think, over there compete. I think Linkamp's going to be a lot better. You mentioned Barberville is going to be a lot better. I think you need to keep your eye on some lower teams maybe jumping up there in the top seeds and stuff because I'm looking forward to it, but we got football starting off, and I know you'll be busy Friday night. You'll be there in Harlan County getting your notes. And, somebody will be feeding you the notes over there for the Harlan game, so you'll be a busy man. And I thank you for giving me your time, and I want you to come back always, and you be safe, okay?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I always enjoy it.
Good seeing you, John. Take care, buddy.
See ya.
See you, John. John Henson, the Harlan County, teaches the Harlan County, and also writes for the paper and does all the sports in Harlan County. Tanner, I want to apologize to you. I didn't let you ask him a question.
That's okay.
Figured, though, the reason why I did not is because I figured that he was he told me some notes that he hadn't been all up in football, so he was more. He did a good job there because he'd been really dealing with basketball. What's going on in the 13th? With Trent coming back and then him leaving. It's one of those things that it's sort of weird because I would have never thought Trent would have left in the first place, but to get the opportunity to play with a caliber player of Reed, Reed Shepherd, I mean, you have to know that he was probably glad to be back.
I actually didn't realize that he had transferred back to Harlan County. The last I heard, I've been off social media for a couple weeks. I've been so busy with my job, and I haven't been keeping up with the news or social media much at all lately. And I had no clue he was back at Harlan County. That's certainly encouraging to hear. I mean, no offense to North Laurel, but they have enough weapons, They
don't need any more as well. Now going to join us is a young man that Tanner, I don't know if you know Max very well. Max Johnson.
I've called Max's games. Outstanding athlete.
Outstanding athlete, an outstanding person, and has got a really good mom and dad. I know him well. Max, thank you for being on the show.
You might have froze up there, CJ.
He froze up on us there. It's such an intense question. Well, he'll get that worked on there.
He was so intimidated to be cross-examined by the great CJ Howard.
Well, no, I feel bad now because I didn't let you ask John some questions.
All right, so I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I said it's great to have you on the show, Max. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
Hey, no problem. First of all, I want you to give me your thoughts about that coach you got there, Dan Howard. What do you think about him? He's an intense man, ain't he?
Yeah, he gets intense sometimes, when he gets a little angry. And he loves to run us, dude. He loves to run us everywhere, all across the field. But he's a good coach and even better guy.
I've hardly ever seen him get mad. I've watched many of your games, and he goes out there, and you guys will not make a mistake, and I will think, well, he's going to go off, and he just nicely says, "You'll do better on the next play." And I guess you guys, in being a player and a coach, that responsorship is very important, ain't it?
Yeah, you don't really want somebody like constantly on your tail for messing up. If it's something mental, like he kind of just says, we can fix it whenever, and just get out there and play the next play.
You guys just got done scrimmage in Bell County Friday night. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was a tough game. Physical. They were physical, very physical, and we played good. We played all right. We improved, definitely improved off that Pineville scrimmage, and we came out and played way better against Bell County.
Yeah, I got the chance to watch you guys play Pineville. Was very impressed with you guys, especially with Landon. He had a really big game, some nice catches, and then of course you guys went up to Log Mountain, played up there. That had to be a fun experience because a lot of people likes playing up there because it's a tradition school with tradition coach and everything. Max, you're well known throughout the mountains. You're one of the best running backs. I'll call you all-purpose player because really you don't really play running back all the time. You play receiver, you play tight end, you'll play whatever it takes to get you to football. Tell me how your game has evolved from when you was a freshman to now.
Well, I've gotten a little bigger, gotten stronger, gotten faster, worked on my body, and just, trying to put myself in trying to give myself the opportunity to be put in those situations and get the ball. Just working on myself daily, and knowing just like the concept of the offense and not just what I'm doing in one position.
I think that's very important to Max. I think everybody on the team should know what everybody else is doing as well. A lot of people don't know Max. Probably if you know him, you know he's a 3-sport star, really good basketball player. But Tanner, he's a outstanding baseball player. He's got he can at shortstop now. Let me tell you what, he plays short, second, third. He's played them all. And I tell you what, the young man can flat out get it across the diamond, and he can hit it very well. Max is a very good baseball player.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I don't know. I guess this will be. I don't want to get Coach Howard mad at you or Coach Harlan, but what's your favorite of the three? Because they probably all three have different tangibles that you can use throughout life to get you going, to keep you.
Yeah, they definitely give. They teach 3 different lessons, 3 different types of people, and all 3 of those coaches. But I don't really want to say a favorite. I love them all, But yeah, I've brought. I've gotten a connection with all 3 of them, and they're just like family to me.
You got 3 really great coaches too. You got Coach Howard, Coach Harlan, and Coach Meehan. All 3 very well, could all coach the game very well. Tanner, you got any questions for Mr. Max?
Well, Max, it's always fun when I get to call a Hazard football and basketball game and see you and your comrades there in action. I haven't called a Hazard baseball game, but I've definitely followed the program, and a lot of your friends and maybe even family members have been affected by this flooding. Probably more so out in the county in Perry County than there in the city of Hazard. But at the same time, I'm sure either you personally or you have some teammates and friends and family that have been devastated by this flooding. And I just wonder how that's impacted your practicing, your preparation, and kind of the mindset of the players and coaches right now, because it seems like football is not the most important thing in the world right now, but at the same time, it's important to go forward and still play this season. So I wonder how all that has been affecting you guys.
Yeah, it was just like when all that flooding hit, we were going to go to camp, and we were going to go to a National Guard camp, and the flood hit. The National Guard came in and took over that camp. And Coach Howard texted us, and he said, the camp's going to get moved to Eastern Kentucky. And, it was kind of like football became secondary. We were out there helping the communities and such, and, we kind of just forgot that, we still have a team and we still have work to do. But then that text kind of brought us all back and was just like, we still need some work and need to improve for this football team.
Have you guys been doing any sort of relief projects, helping rebuild, doing stuff like that?
Yeah, me and my friends, we've been passing out waters and such to families who need them, and going to get anything like dog food, medicine, anything like that if they need it. And then we went as a football team. Well, not most of our football players. We went and helped out Holiday Farms where we went to as kids, and it was real nice to help out people who have been so nice to us when we were kids.
That's great to hear, and keep up the good work, and look forward to making it out to a Hazard game later this year. I'm sure we'll get you on Game of the Week at some point this year. We always get Hazard on once or twice, and it's always fun to watch you play, buddy. And if Coach Howard gives you a hard time, we've got a direct line to him right here. So,
Max, a couple more questions. I'll let you go. You got Middlesboro opening up at home on Friday night. I know Coach Howard posted today he wanted a big crowd to come out and support you guys. Talk about the Yellow Jackets coming to Hazard to play you guys. Last year I watched that game. I got a chance to watch it. You guys lost on you guys had a chance to win the game and you lost at the end. Tell me about this game and what it's going to take to beat the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're definitely different than what they showed last year. Last year they were more of a physical team, and this year they look a little quicker, on the perimeter and all that stuff. So it's just going to take a lot of adjusting, a lot of film, and we got to work on ourselves too. Just getting some plays down and getting these stuff working so we can play them when they come over.
Got a Tanner, if you don't know, they got Max will tell you this. Their schedule is one of the tougher schedules in the mountains. They got Middlesboro this week. Next week they go to Harlan County. Then the week after that they play Breathitt County. So they got their hands full there the next 3 weeks. But as Coach Howard always tells me, better teams make you better, and I know Max will agree with that wholeheartedly because where he's played basketball, football, baseball, if you've ever seen a Hazard schedule, they don't shy away from nobody, and they play the best competition they can play, and that makes them better. Max, thank you so very much for coming on. I'd like to bring you back maybe during basketball season or something. We'll chat some basketball with you. I know football got a lot of important games coming up. I know we got one game that you guys just picked up last week. You're going to get to play at Eastern
yes, sir.
on October 7th. You're going to play Bardstown in a game. That's going to be a unique situation. That'll be really fun.
Yeah, Eastern, grateful for them to letting us come up there and play. Bardstown, they'll be a tough team too, but like you said, tough teams only make you better in the long run, and we're working to get better for the playoffs. Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot from Coach Howard. Coach Howard, it's day by day process with the football team, and they've got a really great staff. But one thing that Hazard has, they've got really good kids, and Max is just a good example of that. Max, thank you so much for being with us. Hope we get you back on again maybe later in the season. Good luck to you guys on Friday night as you play Middlesboro at home, and you behave yourself and be safe, okay?
Thank you. You too. Take care.
See you, buddy.
Thank you. Max Johnson, football player for the Hazard Bulldogs, three-sport athlete, dominates all three sports. Tanner, the young man is tremendous. I mean, but you ought to see him on the baseball diamond. He can flat out go.
Hazard, for a Class A school, you would be hard pressed to find a school with as much athletic tradition across the sports spectrum as Hazard High School. Going back over the years, a couple other schools around here that come to mind would be Paintsville and maybe Pikeville, but I definitely have to give Hazard a lot of credit. And I have to throw this in there, CJ. Speaking of former Hazard Bulldogs doing big things, Tanner Morgan back to quarterback the Minnesota Golden Gophers for another season, taking advantage of that extra year of COVID eligibility. And Minnesota, Coach PJ Fleck, they could be a real dark horse contender in the Big Ten this year. There's no reason why they couldn't win 8 or 9 games and maybe challenge for a Big Ten title. And Tanner Morgan, of course, was at Hazard for 1 or 2 years and then transferred to Ryle up in northern Kentucky to finish his high school career. And before he went on, Central or Western Michigan he signed with before he ended up with Minnesota. He followed PJ Fleck as coach there. So
I
always remember when I first started calling games with YMT, Tanner was the quarterback at Hazard. And I would joke with him. I said, Hazard's only big enough for one Tanner. And and we would joke about that. I don't know if he appreciated it, but he always had a good sense of humor about it. And he was an outstanding, even as a sophomore at Hazard, was an outstanding passer. And now back as the starting quarterback at his 3rd year starting at Minnesota, I believe. So, if you wanted to sprinkle some money on him in Vegas to win the Heisman, I think he can get pretty good odds. I think I saw him maybe 1,000 to 1. We should go together and buy a ticket.
Well,
better odds than winning the Mega Millions.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you look at the class of quarterbacks this year and coming up in college. I've been amazed by Will Levis as a race up the chart. I know he had a real good year last year, and a lot of that due to the fact of Rondell Robinson, who, by the way, I thought played pretty good the other night in the preseason game. Will Levis has got a really great arm. He's a good athlete, but he's going to have to find some receivers that can they have to mesh with like he did with Rondell.
Yeah, Wandale picked up a lot of those yak yards after catch or yards after contact, sometimes both, depending on how you look at it. what you like about Levis is the athleticism, his ability to extend plays and escape the pocket when he's under pressure. You like his running ability, which he showed off against Louisville. There's that infamous play. I guess famous would be the right word, not I guess infamous if you're Louisville, where he hurdled the Louisville defender in the last game of the regular season. I think what concerns you with Levis is you look at some of the metrics and statistics on when he was passing from the pocket. And in true passing situations, he wasn't always the most accurate quarterback. He can struggle with accuracy issues. Has he addressed that in the offseason and put in the work? And how will he mesh with his new offensive coordinator? Liam Cohen did an outstanding job in 1 year before he got scooped back up into the NFL. And will he mesh with the new offensive coordinator? The new OC certainly has the credentials and the reputation. So I think there's a lot of question marks around Levis, and whether he improves on some of the deficiencies from last season. The answer to that question is probably the difference in whether Kentucky is going 7-5 this year or whether Kentucky is going 9-3. I think anyway. I think they'll probably end up going about 8-4. And if you look at their Vegas win total, that's about where they're projected. If they get to 9 wins this year, that would be a really good season for them.
To get 9, I think to get 9, they got to beat Florida in week 2.
That's going to be tough. Do we know the status of Rodriguez, the running back who got the DUI? Is he going to be able to play against Florida? Because I think that makes a big difference.
Well, now I was awfully impressed with the kids that played in the spring game. Some of those running backs were very athletic, and Rodriguez is the main running back in the system. But as I think Coach Scoops will probably say, next man up. And, I just wonder if he can play in the opener against Miami of Ohio. So we'll have to wait and see. Your boss, Mr. Pillardorf, wanted to know if you'll predict Vanderbilt to win the SEC in football.
We were talking about long shot tickets. I think that one would be a longer shot than Tanner Morgan to win the Heisman. Maybe I'll go to Vegas and buy both of them, but I'll say this: Vanderbilt is projected. I think their Vegas win total is 2.5, and they open up with Hawaii. They're about a touchdown favorite, and then they play. I don't know if it's in this order, but they play Hawaii, Northern Illinois, and one other team. And if they're going to get to 3 wins, they've got to get to 3 wins before the start of SEC play, because who in the SEC are they beating? Maybe Missouri. I can't see them winning a game in the SEC unless they're just completely, different in year 2 under their new coach than I'm anticipating. But Ned is a Vanderbilt grad, and I like to give him a hard time. If you really want to get under his skin, call Vanderbilt Vandy.
Oh, well, no,
they don't like the shorthand term.
No, we'll stay away from Vandy. We call them that in basketball, not football. I mean, some names you need to hear the whole thing when you're, it's like if Alabama is in football, you call them Bama in basketball. You call Vandy or UK in basketball, Kentucky in football. You see how all these teams roll off, So I understand. I have failed to mention. We mentioned. I wanted to talk about all the coaching changes this year, Tanner. I don't know if I've ever seen a year where we had so many. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new coaches. And we've also got 4 teams that are not participating in district play. Actually, 3. One doesn't even have a team anymore. We'll start with that. Jenkins does not have a team, and I'm sad for that. I know Winston gave it his all to try to for them to try to put a team together, and they couldn't do it. So, and then Jackson Kelly are not playing in district play. They have a new coach, and Coach Nick Sizemore. Not Kelly Central has a new head coach. A good friend of everybody's, Mr. Joe Beater, returning to Not Kelly. Joe, a former Leslie Kelly coach, former Breathitt Kelly coach, former administrator of the Breathitt County school system, former administrator everywhere, just a good guy. And then Phelps is not going to participate in district play either. They also have a new head coach, Randy Smith. I understand they have about 30 players out too. They're not going to participate in district play. Other coaching changes that happened during the year. Fairview has a new head coach, Brent Wilcox, taking over for Daniel Armstrong. Pineville, of course, with Jason Chappell went to North Laurel. Alan Harris, the former Lindcamp head coach, taking over there. Bath County with a new head coach, Johnny Porter out, Larry Boland in. Rockcastle County, of course, Scott Parkey retired, and then Chris Larker took over. Garrett County, Jerry Perry retired. Spencer Crutchfield, the former Lincoln County head coach, is now in charge. Magoffin County now under the reins of John DeRosset, taking over for Chris Gamble. And, you heard John mention that Harlan County beat Magoffin County last night 34-6 in scrimmage. But John DeRosset, the former Peaburg coach, now at Magoffin County. Knox Central under new management. Dustin Buckner, the new head coach there, taking over from Travis McDaniels. Of course, Lincoln County has a new head coach with Spencer Crutchfield left to go to Garrett County. They got took over by Josh Jager. You have to answer me on Josh Jager. Did he coach at Boyle County? Not Boyle County, a big name school. I know he coached a big name school, or his dad did. We need to investigate that more. Of course, Johnson Central, the passing of our good friend, Mr. Jim Matney. Jesse Peck, one of the assistant coaches, got the job. I'm glad he stayed in-house with that too, Tanner, because I thought that was very important for the morale of the kids and the community. North Laurel, of course, Chris Larkey left to go to Rockcastle County. Jason Chappell took over there. And South Laurel has a new head coach, Jed Irwin, who took over the AD job there at South, and now get the reins to Alan Mitchell. And I think some relation to Coach Mitchell that used to be at Lindcamp a long time ago. So give me your thoughts about those. I read them off there.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, one of the first teams you mentioned was Jenkins, and they got hit pretty hard by the flooding, and that might have been a blessing in disguise. It would have been really difficult for Jenkins, who the last time I checked was the smallest football playing school in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It would have been really difficult for them to have gone forward and played a football season in these circumstances. So hopefully that, as that community rebuilds and they bounce back, they can come back with a team next year. Glad to see Phelps. You mentioned they had 30 players out. It was only a few short years ago when David Jones was still there and he got that program built up. I remember I called their very first win in the Pike County Bowl. That was 2016 or 17. So, they're not too far removed from being a pretty decent program, especially by Phelps historical standards. So, those are two teams that I've always kind of had a soft spot for, smaller schools that, struggled at times to get it going, but who you wanted to really see have some success. I'll be honest, CJ, a lot of those other coaching hires, you have done a much more proficient job of keeping up with it in the off season than I have. Usually what I do is when high school football season rolls around and I get the schedule for the games I'm going to be calling, then I sit down and look and see, okay, is this the same coach that's been there in years past? Is it a new coach? Okay, what do I need to learn about the new coach? What kind of system does he run? Do I have his cell phone number where I can call him up and ask him about his program and his kids to help me get some notes for the broadcast? So actually, I learned a lot of the off-season transactions, we'll call them. The high school coaching free agency market. I feel thoroughly caught up now, thanks to you.
You're going to be even more caught up because there's two basketball stories to even tell you about. Of course, Cordia, they've had a really great, strong program. Their coach decided that he wanted to step down, Dennis Ray Farley. So he wanted to focus more on his family, spending more time with his wife and friends and his family. Also, I think he wanted to the all-star guard there that played at Cordia this past season. He's going to college. I think he wanted to watch him play and help him out. So Cordia needs a boys coach, and Justin Ambergy is the new girls coach at Knox County Central. Of course, Jeff Honeycutt resigned back about a month ago. So Justin is the AD at Knox County Central, and they decided that he would be the good choice to coach the girls. He actually was the girls' coach in the late 2000s. He took them to he won the region with them, I believe, in 2004. I know I'll get corrected on that later down the road, but that also is some news that's been happening today. One other thing in high school I wanted to bring up. We lost a good friend this week. Don White, official in the 13th region. I forgot to mention that to John when he was just on there with us. Don White passed away, I think, Tuesday. Many of you, if you've ever known Don, I've known him, watched him referee in the 13th. Really good man, good family guy. He's going to be missed in the 13th region. One thing that I get jumped on a little bit is my officials want to be on the show. And I have no problem with that. I'll have any official on here that wants to talk about the rules and stuff. But I do care about when we lose somebody of the stature of anybody, I want to be able to mention it. So, but Mr. Don White will be remembered, and we will miss you, Don. Les put that out there earlier, and that was some tough news to take. But a lot going on, Tanner. High school football starting up Friday night. You got the game of the week this week. Shelby Valley traveling to Lake Central to play the Cougars. But it's going to be a lot of things are surrounded by the start of high school. We got a phone call, so let's take that. If I was Ryan, I'm trying to get to you here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the CJ Howard Show. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead. Hello, Ryan. How you doing, sir? Well, it's raining outside. My wife come through here a moment ago. It was raining. Well, they're highly thought of. I know I've not seen their preview yet, and that gives me something to believe they may be in the top 10 of YMT's top 10, because there can't be too many more teams left for them to preview. But Knox Central's got a good. This coach comes from Corbin. I don't know a lot. I think he formerly from Knox County. Don't know a lot about him. But when you've got an athlete of the caliber of the young man, the big tight end, the big basketball player. Help me here, Tanner. The Chadwell. When you got the caliber of him, and Knox Central's also got some very good players around him. Knox Central. The other night they played somebody. There was a film of him making about a 50-yard touchdown catch, breaking a bunch of tackles. So that'll be interesting to watch. I don't think I can hear you.
I cannot hear Ryan. I can't hear what Ryan's saying, CJ. You'll have to play translator.
I will. He wants to know what you think about Moorhead just coming.
Well, Moorhead State lost a lot. They lost 4 FCS All-Americans. They lost their quarterback, who's now playing overseas and actually was the starting quarterback on the league's championship team. His team just won a championship overseas, and that was Mark Pappas. He's gone. They lost arguably the best wide receiver in school history in B.J. Bird, set the school record for touchdowns in a season. I think he had the individual single game touchdown record as well. He was another FCS All-American that's gone. They lost Vaughn Taylor, who was a big defensive lineman, transferred from Kansas. That's Kansas of the Big Ten. and then played a couple of seasons at Morehead State. He was an FCS All-American, broke several defensive records, maybe the sack record. I'm not sure on that. And then they also lost their kicker and punter in Andrew Foster, who was an FCS All-American. So they lost their two best players on offense, they lost their best player on defense, and they lost their best player on special teams. So normally a team in that situation, you would not expect big things out of them the following season, but Morehead State does return a lot. They have benefited from some transfers. Rob Tenyer, the head coach, has been there for a while now and has established the program, and he has very recently, as crazy as this sounds, started recruiting the state of California. They got a really good running back out of California recently named Isaiah Aguero, who was in the program for a couple of years. They've got some other good players from out west, and he has really expanded the recruiting base in order to try to compete with some of these other schools in the Pioneer Football League. So Morehead has a manageable schedule. There are a lot of what I would call coin flip games on the schedule. They open up with a couple of really tough FCS opponents, Montana State and one other game. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but they play two teams that are the cream of the crop in the FCS that they're just not going to win. But then they come back home. I think they've got Kentucky Christian, the school in Grayson. And then they begin conference play. And really, there's not a game on their conference schedule that's unwinnable. I think they're all kind of in that 40 to 60% win probability range. So they could win half of them. They could lose them all. They could conceivably win them all. But I think they've got a chance to at least compete in every game in conference. So all that said, it's really unpredictable. I think there's a lot of variance to this season. There's a wide range of outcomes. There's anywhere from them winning 3 games to potentially winning 8 or 9 games. So that doesn't necessarily answer the question, but that's the best way I know how to preview the Morehead State football season.
All right, here's the review of the short cap. Ryan, they lost 5 big-time players. They've got a really tough schedule, and they've been recruited out of California, and he thinks the conference they can win. They may be able to win the conference. He's excited about Morehead football.
Very good. Pretty much.
Wesley County did look very good. Ryan, you later recall that the quarterback had a really nice game. He scored 2 of the 3 touchdowns Wesley County had. I tell you what, they look promising. There's a lot of promise there, Ryan, but promise is only given to you if you can accept it. We're going to find out how good they are on Friday night. You got to travel to Martin Kelly, then you come back. After Martin Kelly, you got back-to-back games against all mountain quarterbacks, and Tate Rice at Clay County and Cindy Bowman at Williamsburg. But the promise is there. They just got to build up. And they were out 3 starters the other night, too, Ryan. 3 players that would have started did not play. So, but the promise is there. All right, Ryan. Thank you very much. All right, bye. Ryan Farmer there, always a faithful listener, faithful. I was sad that Tanner could not hear that, but I've been trying to fix it. I eventually will one day. Tanner Hesterberg will hear a phone call on the CJ Harris Show. I promise. It's just going to take me some time to get it fanned out there. Nolan has commented here. Muggsy is watching. I want to let you first know that. Your better half says Muggsy's watching, so that's good. And now,
some would argue Muggsy is my better half.
Pickleball, by the way, you need to mention that to her when you get time again. You guys we need to have that great conversation that we had that one night with me, you, and her. I think it was one of the next to last shows we had. We'll need to go back into that again. But Nolan, everybody knows Nolan. Nolan's my good friend. Love Nolan when he can comment, when he can give us anything. Nolan, he says, Tanner, I wish a person like yourself was put in a charge of handling donations for money to the people that really need it. He wants, first of all, you'd be a perfect candidate to make sure the people is flooded or people that need money. You would get it to them because you're honest and trustworthy.
Thank you, Nolan.
He also says, I want to wish David J. Stampert and Larry Thornsbury strength and kindness in their home county because they were part of the in the flooding there in Knox County. He also says they treated me with great kindness when I was in their gymnasium. Nolan, everybody treated with. I just wish you could get out and be with us some more. I love it when you're around. He also says, hoping Jordan Brock at Tennessee Tech will get to play this season and in Cooksville. And then he says Nolan at the bottom. Tanner, I know you know Nolan because he's called on Sports 101 and everything, but when it gets right down to it, when I hear Nolan speaking, I'm listening because there's a lot coming out there to be good.
Absolutely. He is just a bottomless fount of knowledge of high school and local college athletic information. You know, just a wonderful source to have in this area. Appreciate the kind comment he made about me. If I'm ever called upon to fulfill a purpose like that, I will gladly do it. I can tell you that, this doesn't speak necessarily to the financial funds that are being allocated to the people of Eastern Kentucky, but having volunteered at some of the local shelters and with some of the local organizations and distributing supplies and other necessities, I can tell you that it is a real problem at some of these shelters of people taking things they don't need. And you've heard the horror stories in some of these counties, and I think this is the worst thing in the world. These people who are charged with looting and taking people's stuff when they've set it out while they were cleaning after their houses were flooded. But I'm talking about beyond that, people coming to these shelters and maybe they didn't have as much damage as somebody else, but they're taking things they just don't need. And that's been a problem, sadly, at some of these areas. So if you were legitimately affected by the flood and you have a legitimate need for these things, it's fine. That's what it's there for. But if not, you need to leave that for the people who truly, genuinely need it. So that is something that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. But getting back to the point on Nolan, he was always one of my favorite callers. Actually, we've heard from two of our who were regular callers to my show, Sports 101, and Ryan Farmer and Nolan Wheeler. If Nolan is listening, Nolan, I can tell you that I am in Lawrence County quite frequently now for my law practice. I have some clients in Lawrence County, and whenever I drive to Sandy Hook, sometimes I've had a couple cases in Elliott County. The way to get there from Prestonsburg is you go through Johnson County and then you wind through Blaine in Lawrence County to get to Sandy Hook. I can't think of the name of that road. I'm sure Nolan knows it, but I'm in Nolan country probably once every couple of months.
If you're ever down through there, you gotta let him know that you're coming, and he would love to have lunch or dinner with you. Nolan's a good man. Now with us, Tanner, our good friend, the new head football coach at Rockcastle County, Mr. Chris Larker. Coach, it's great to have you with us again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, CJ, I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate everything you do for everybody.
Well, how was your first summer with your alma mater? I know it had to, I guess that first day when you can get them out there on July 15th, you probably had the biggest smile. I was imagining you had the biggest smile on your face that you've ever had.
Well, I started working with them in about a little bit right before Christmas. And so I kind of got to know them a little bit, and I got to know them more around January. But, then we went through all of our June practices and did our then we finally got into July and did our 7-on-7. So I got to know the guys really well. And I've coached a lot of those kids' dads, their papaws, know their papaws and aunts, uncles. So I know a lot of those kids, and it's more of, like a bittersweet thing to be home with these guys and be able to try to get rock hard football going again.
I was looking at your roster, Coach, you got a big roster this year. Am I looking at possibly 50 players?
I think we got 59 players right now. And, a lot of kids came out that, didn't play last year or, we've had some kids move in from other places. And, speaking of all the flood stuff, I've tried to get a bunch of Kyle Morris football players to come live with me, at least till basketball season starts. And I don't know why they wouldn't leave. I tried to get –
Coach, I think that might be a little illegal. I don't know. Tanner's an attorney. Let's ask Tanner. Would that be okay? Would that be? I think there might be
I can put 10 mailboxes in my front yard and say there's their address.
I'm off the clock here. Coach is on his own.
But I'm glad Kyle's got his team going, and I'm glad all that's working out for him. Because I know we played down there last year when I was at North, and great place to play football, lots of tradition, and I hate to see it done that way. But hopefully they'll get.
I know that I've been trying to keep up with their situation. I understand that the possibility that they haven't released the field back to Breathitt County yet, so I don't know if they get to play their home opener or not on Friday night.
I think we lost Chris there for a second.
Yeah, hopefully he'll return. Folks, I've got some people down here in my box. I don't know who you are. Peyton Saylor, Dwight McCaffrey, ED. I don't know who you are, but I don't know. I can't. I've got others trying to get in. So if you're not real, would you please go ahead and exit out? If you could. And let's try to get Coach Larker back on here. What it is costing him. I can't. I'm gonna have to open up some room here. So I don't know how to do that. I can't get it to climb back down because one of them has to leave the stream before one can come in. So
you're under attack by the Russian bots, CJ.
Something's happened here. I do not know who these people are, but they want to be on the show apparently.
You're just so popular.
I didn't know I was that popular, but we'll see what we can do. Maybe ED will leave here in a second. We're losing Coach Larker. I tried to ban this, but I don't want to ban nobody, but that's probably the only way I'm going to kick him out from the studio. Okay, there we go.
This show could have a very large following in Siberia.
Probably.
There we got Coach back.
Okay.
Now.
All right, we got Coach back with us. Coach back with us. But my question, what was my question before he disappeared? Do you remember? So I'm so busy trying to get to these robots down here. I don't know who these people are that's taking up my space on my boxes. So, Coach, I was talking about Breathitt County may not be able to play their home opener because I don't think their field has been released back to them yet because of safety reasons. So we got to keep an eye on that because I know they play McGoffin County Friday night. Supposed to be at home, but we'll wait and see if that happens. Coach, we talked a lot about when I had you on back in April when you first got the job that it was going to take you said it might take a little bit to get this program in the right direction going. Just to know that you've already got 59 kids out, does that make you feel that maybe you're going on the right direction?
I think that's one step you got to do is you have to have players out there, so you field at least a scout team to be able to practice against. And then you got a lot of kids can play freshman JV football, and that keeps them playing, because you don't have to, that way you don't have to cancel the JV season. So you've at least got kids that's playing. And, and also coming in, learning a little different style of offense, different formations. A lot of stuff is, basically the same. Just a little bit different terminology. All the football coaches that were there, they're still here. They're all really good football coaches. And, there's no need to get rid of anybody if they're a good coach. And so I know all those guys are great football coaches. I've actually probably coached one of their dads and coached one of them. And So I know that they know how to play football, and they're all young and energetic, which is what you have to have also. But, I think the kids are, we went to football camp, and they bonded a whole lot. And we just got to get back to where we play, hard-nosed football and make people fear what's on our chest at Rockcastle again. And just basically, get back to being a very physical football team.
I have got the mystery who the people are in my box, Mr. Tanner Hesterberg. Those are parents of the Rockcastle County football team.
Okay.
They wanted to listen. They just wanted to listen to their coach. I have never had that before. So that is an honor for me because I didn't know your parents or players they're wanting to know your comments, coach. So this is
well,
good.
They take football serious in Rockcastle County.
I can tell they took the boxes over here. But thank you so much. I'm glad that I was able to. I wasn't able to do that. A kind person wrote me a message, a private message, and I answered it and corrected that. Okay.
But, we've had lots of parents, lots of support from our community, the businesses, the parents. I mean, everything's been great. And we just hope that, we can really, I always told people, I want to win for three people, basically. My dad, Coach Saylor, and Rockcastle County. And that's who we got to win for is those three. I want to win for Rockcastle because it means so much to our community. We're not a big community, and they take all their sports in this county serious. And that's what they got to do on Friday nights is come watch football. And we got a lot of good kids, like elementary kids, youth, middle school kids playing sports right now. And that's great because kids need to get back outside and do stuff and get involved. And it just helps in so many different things.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We look at your schedule, Coach. You open up with Casey County at Campbellsville. That is the Fort Bate Bowl. Then in the next week, you play East Jesuit in your home opener. 3 of your first 4 games on the road. And then you play South Laurel, who you're familiar with when you was in that other district. Then district play. But the game that everybody will be circling will be on September 30th. The home game you have with Bell coming to town. I heard a lot of good things about Bell. But talk about the rivalry. I know when your dad was there, Bell and Rockcastle was the game. I mean, no other game meant nothing more than Bell Rock. I know that you're not one on one game. You're one on 10. Your whole schedule and getting better each day and improving and getting the playoffs. But what does the Bell Rock series mean to you?
We open up with Casey County. Casey County is a really good football team. They actually returned almost every single starter from last year. And so we got 10 kids probably going to start on Saturday that did not even play high school football last year. So that's a big disadvantage to us, but they're going to learn. And what we had a tough schedule. We're a small 3A school. We're playing schools like South Laurel, a big 5A school. They have more boys in their school than we have total students in our school. So they got a lot of kids to pick and choose from. But it all comes down to the regular season, getting ready for our district games, and obviously Bell County is our district rival, and it has been since probably when I was in high school playing football in 1985. But Kaywood ran that district back then, so eventually when Kaywood got out, it was between Rockcastle and Bell for a long time, and they had the advantage on us for a while up into the mid 90s, and we kind of took over Bell County. And they're still a solid football program. They're always going to be a solid program as long as Dudley Hilton's there, because he like you love him or hate him, he's still a good football coach, and that'll be a big game for us. That could determine the district. It could determine the seedings in the playoffs for us. And where we cross district now with the playoffs, it also depends on where you're seated at on who you play.
I know 2 other games that probably you get to go to Estill County, who's got a new facility. Everybody's been talking about it, said it's state of the art there now at Irvine. And then you end the year with Lincoln County, a team that really come on strong last year. Has got a new head coach. We talked about coaches moving on. Coach Crutchfield moved on to
Garrett County.
Garrett County. Now they've got Josh Jagger. Am I correct, Coach? Does his dad, was he a legendary coach somewhere?
He coached at Lincoln County. Marty Jaggers did. And he also coached at Mercer County when they first consolidated. And I think they won the state championship when he was at Mercer County. And then, of course, Josh, went out. He was at LaRue County last year. So he's kind of a native to Lincoln County also. But, Lincoln County is going to be a tough team. That they got a lot of kids. They got way more kids than we got. So, we're playing all these big schools, and we're just a little small country school. And but our kids are going to fight for everything they got, just like we used to.
Tanner, go ahead with the wisdom to Coach Larker.
I ask him to share his wisdom, not the other way around. Coach, the first thing I got to ask you, I've never seen that portrait behind you. What is that? Can you give us a closer look at that?
Well, let's see here.
Got you and
that's my dad. That's my dad and Coach Saylor. I don't know if you can see it for the light too well, but they're to me about the ones who started Rockcastle football, getting the traditions all started. And from 1985, they worked together till 2006. And he was always my dad's defensive coordinator and probably one of the smartest, if not the best defensive coordinator in the state of Kentucky. They just worked very well together. And when you coach with somebody for 20-some years, you develop a great relationship with them. And that's the two guys I really want to get the football going back for, is those two guys right there, because it means a lot to them. And so hopefully I can do that for those guys and for the whole county of Rockcastle.
Do you feel like that's a little extra pressure you kind of put on yourself because your dad was there and you played, and the Larky name? I'm sure a lot of the people involved in Rockcastle are maybe too young to remember it, but at the same time, a lot of people in that community, I'm sure, still do remember those glory days. And you can never really fully recapture the magic of the glory days, and that's why they're special. But at the same time, it sounds like you're putting some pretty high expectations on yourself and on this program. And I just wonder kind of the challenge of that when you've got a name and a reputation and now a standard like that to live up to.
Well, I told the players today, pressure. I got the pressure. It's all on me. And, I'm taking it all on myself to try to do this, because there is a lot of pressure on me, because the people expect it to be like it used to be back when my dad and Coach Saylor were the football coaches. And I was with them. I played for Coach Saylor for 3 years. With my dad was the football coach, and I came back a couple of years after I played college football and started coaching with my dad and Coach Saylor. So I started coaching football with them at Rockcastle at 1990. And so I stayed with them all the way to 2007. So this is going into my 33rd years coaching high school football. And most of it's obviously has been at Rockcastle. And so the people of Rockcastle, they remember the glory days. They remember getting beat bad too at Bell County. They remember going to the state championships and winning districts and winning regions and all that, and huge crowds at the stadium. And that's what we want to get back, because we've not done that in a while. And I just want to do that and make the whole county proud of us, of our football team, and just get it going back like I always remember it, like that.
Well, we're certainly hoping and pulling for you to be able to get it back to that level, because when you have those traditional powers like Rockcastle and some of these other schools, when they're good, to me, it makes the whole product better. It makes all of high school football better when you have a school like Rockcastle County who's playing at a high level. But I wonder, from an X's and O's perspective, just strictly X's and O's, the first year, learning a new system, bringing your system to Rockcastle County, how much different is it for these kids? How much of an adjustment is that? And do you kind of build in some time to maybe where they'll understand some concepts maybe halfway through the season that they're not understanding or not able to pick up so far to this point?
Well, a lot of the terminology is still the same. It's never changed. and it's just a formation. So pretty much just, instead of two guys out there being a double pro, it's a wide slot. So it's, and if it's easy for those guys, then I usually can change it to where I can make it. I just adapt to what they've got. But there's some things I have to change because I'll never remember all the stuff they did. And, but yeah, just learning over the new system and just learning the strengths and weaknesses of our team, is the biggest challenge right now. And, it's going to be rough the first couple, 3 games, but our kids will eventually, we'll be ready for the district when it rolls around. And that's what really matters the most. Of course, I can remember, like you said in the polls, I can remember looking in the newspapers, Rockcastle would be always ranked in the top 10, top 20 of the entire state of Kentucky. And not just in 4A or 3A or 5A, whatever, we were over the entire whole state of Kentucky, we'd always be ranked. And that's what I want us to get back to. People look in the newspapers to see where we're at. And, of course, you have to win those games to get ranked. And, of course, Paducah Tillman, they lost about 3 or 4 straight, maybe 5, and finally they ended up the state championship. So it all matters in the end when you start in the district. So that's what our goal is to be ready to compete and be really Friday night ready when we come district time. And that's not what the fans want to be 10-0, of course I do too. So, but realistically, everybody wants to be 10-0. I know we got fast kids just like everybody else has fast kids. So, we're not the same size we used to be. We're not a humongous team. So we have to learn to use all that to our advantage. David versus Goliath is what it'll be most of the year. And I don't know where some of these teams get their kids at. There's monsters out there. And we got some coming up, but that's what we got to work for. And we don't want to really rebuild. We want to just go right now and start it off just like with a bang right now.
I know you in the back of your mind, you do have to keep in mind that realignment's going to help it next year. And here pretty soon they're going to be giving the rough draft of where everybody's going to be. Do you believe that you and Bell will still be in the same district when it comes back around, or do you expect some changes?
Well, I think there's a lot of schools that have lost kids to enrollment, and some schools have gained. Everybody wants to drop down as far as they can, obviously, to avoid certain schools. Everybody wants to avoid Covington Catholic, Frederick Douglass, Boyle County. And so some schools will probably play up to get away from them or whatever. But, I don't know. Hopefully we do keep the same alignment with Bell County. It's always been such a great tradition. And it's not a bad drive to Bell County. We're right there on the interstate. So I think when the KCAA does do all that, they should keep in mind a lot of the traditional games, because that's what football is all about, is tradition and rivalries, and not just having to play somebody new every other year or every 2 years and then realign and go back with them. You need to try to keep, the same stuff as much as possible, I think.
I know one thing that they do, they take care of 1A and 6A first, and then they place everybody else wherever. And I understand why they do that, because you got a lot of big 6A schools and you got so many little schools that you got some little schools that deserve to be in Class A football that can't can't compete in 2A or 3A. But they can't get that opportunity to get down there because there are just so many slots that you can have. So, but it will be interesting. Usually, the draft for that should come out around week 4 or 5. That gives you coaches enough time to look at it, send it back. Then when they give the final go, then you guys can start scheduling your games for next year, and that gives you the heads up there. So
there'll be a lot of schools in panic mode by that time. A lot of coaches looking for a panic button, I'm sure.
Yeah, that will definitely be a panic button going on there. Coach, want to remind everybody, they play Casey County at Campbellsville. It is the Fort Bank Bowl, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday.
It's 4 o'clock.
Okay. It's 5 o'clock on the schedule.
No, it's 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
4 p.m. We've been corrected. 4 p.m. Let's get there, everybody.
So we can all have our cleats melt on that turf.
Yes. Yes, I've never been to Campbellsville. They say it's a nice place to go. Campbellsville, I was thinking there's one Druthers left in Kentucky, and I can't remember where it's at.
Why don't you go get your Dandy Tail dinner?
I used to love Dairy Queen. I used to love Druthers when they had it, but Coach, it's awesome to have you on shows always. I know that you're back at home now. What you done at North Laurel was an unbelievable feat, and what you're going to do at Rockcastle is even going to be even more special. And I just want to wish you the best of luck, and we'll bring you back on towards the end of the year. We'll see how things are going.
Well, I appreciate that, CJ and Tanner, and you all take care. And thank you for everything you all do for everybody.
Chris, take care, buddy.
Take care, Chris. Chris Larker, the head football coach of the Rockcastle County Rockets. Again, they play Casey County at Campbellsville, 4 p.m. on Saturday. Coach, good luck to you, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye, Coach. All right, Tanner. That's the legendary Chris Larkey there. And our parents are hanging. Oh, we're losing them 1-1. We're starting.
They're offended that you called them Russian bots.
No, I didn't. I had to get to. I didn't.
That
know.
was me.
I have never had that happen to me in the show's 3 years, because nobody ever shares the links with the person. Like, you send you link, you send it to 10 more. I've never had that done. So I appreciate the guys, the parents that were stayed on there. And I still got 2 that's still on here, Chris Miller and Rock. You want to listen to us? Hang right in there. We're going to have John Lowe in just a little bit here as we're coming to. How about a phone call? Give me a phone call. Give me a phone call, guys. We had Ryan a few minutes ago. Maybe I have a question or a comment you want to make. Guys, leave your comments too. I know we're not. It's been a little slow tonight. First show, usually it takes a little bit to get everything back in formation. But when we get to that point, it starts running away with it. But Tanner, we've talked a lot of topics. What about Kentucky and the Bahamas? What did you think about their 4-game stretch?
Haven't followed them particularly closely. I think on games like that, you're just looking for cohesiveness. Are the players gelling? Is the chemistry where it needs to be? Because obviously it's tough to judge that particular level of competition, and you don't know what the goals of the coaching staff, what their goals are in terms of the rotations. They're experimenting a lot. So what we saw in those games isn't necessarily what we're going to see in the regular season. I think the more interesting storyline this week in terms of UK athletics, and maybe you want to save this till John hops on here so we can get him to weigh in, were the comments from John Calipari about Kentucky being a basketball school, and then the offense that was taken by that, probably justifiably so, by one Mark Stoops. And that's a topic that I think would be good for, that was tailor-made to be addressed on the CJ Howard show.
Oh, no question about it. And I think that Coach Calipari regrets that now. I mean, I really do. But I like Coach. I'm a big Coach Stoops fan. I've always been a Coach Stoops fan. I think he deserves nothing but the most respect. We haven't mentioned it either. I haven't mentioned it on the show either tonight. But, when we talk about respect, Mike Pratt, who passed away back this summer, mentioned one time about how John Calipari and Cal were sort of the same, but a little different in their coach. How they come together, and I think Cal regrets what he said, but I have to give credit to the main man for Stoops not going off on him full throttle. But he could have, it could have been really bad. But we'll get John in here and see what he thinks about it, because
there he is.
I mean, he, the guy from YMT. Can you spell your name?
No, I can't. I'm from West Virginia. We didn't learn.
I'll tell you why he did that, CJ. It's because he wants to make sure I remember and get his name correct this time. Because about a year ago, I was doing a live shot and called him Josh instead of John, which I made that mistake for a couple of reasons. Number one, that was the day I found out I passed the bar exam and my head was just somewhere else. And number two was I had muscle memory from tossing back to Josh McKinney from all those years. And Josh and I still call games together. So my head said John, my mouth said Josh, and I called John the wrong name once on television. So that's why he has that guy from WYMT, because he thinks that I wouldn't remember his correct name this time. He's playing mind games with me.
John, the whisper,
can either confirm or deny. So, or in legal terms, I'll take the fifth.
Well, when I saw that, I said the guy from W. I went, "Oh, is this another parent?" Because I've been having parents on here not watching Coach Larker and his interview, and I want to make sure. Ooh, it's been spooky. Well, what we just discussed in there, John. But we'll get into more detail. We just talking about the Calipari, Coach Stoops. I think I call it disagreement, but I don't think there's. I think Hesterberg was wrong what he said, and I think it'll eventually blow over.
I think they're all wrong. This is clearly a track and field school, a volleyball school.
You're right. I thought about that.
Volleyball has the most recent national championship, right?
Well, as a team, yes. But if you include like Abby Steiner and everything she's done, it'd be track. So, but either one could be a compelling case. I think with Cal, though, I mean, to be serious, I think, and actually I was just talking about this to Tommy Poole just a few minutes ago. Anyone who pays attention knows that Kentucky is traditionally a basketball school. I think if Cal had kind of framed it that way and said, hey, we're traditionally a basketball school. We are one of the best basketball programs in the country. We need to have a facility that represents that. This would have been fine. I think the mistake he made, and I think he, in what Keith Farmer tweeted yesterday, is that he compared Alabama and Georgia and kind of did all that. Because if you take away Alabama and Georgia, Kentucky is arguably the best team in the SEC in football. So it is what it is. I think they'll be fine. They're both from Pittsburgh area. They'll work it out. So
I know. Sometimes you got programs that just don't agree on something eventually, but they get over it. I mean, they do it for the best for their school. You heard what Mitch Barnhart yesterday. Basically, he didn't say nip it in the bud, but he just simply says, "There's nothing more here to see, nothing more here to say." So when Mitch Barnhart speaks, you better listen because he's got strong pull, and it comes up big time. I think your better half is Muggsy and I are tired, so we're going to go to bed. We love you, Tanner. Great show, CJ.
Well, that's pretty insulting to John that they decide to go to bed as soon as he comes on.
I don't stay up to watch myself, so it's okay.
It is getting pretty late. I agree with everything John Lowe said about John Calipari's comments. He probably could have made his point more artfully and diplomatically. Everyone knows he's trying to get this capital campaign going for these new facilities. Kentucky basketball needs new facilities in his view. And is he right that Kentucky's a basketball school? Of course he's right. Now, there is a renewed interest in football because of what Mark Stoops has done. He's raised the floor. He's raised the expectations. And there are probably more people who can name 5 starting football players now than there were 5 years ago. But there are still way more people in this fan base who can name all 5 basketball starters. I mean, that's just reality, and it always will be. The reverse is true at Alabama and Georgia. But even though that's reality, that doesn't mean that Cal had to say it like he did. And I think if he could take it back, he would find a more diplomatic way to put it. And, Stoops had to fire back and stick up for his guys. But I'm sure at the end of the day, he wants this to just go away, too, because it's it's a stupid, unwelcome distraction as we close in now on 2 or 3 weeks before the season opener.
And you don't need
Right.
nothing
There's,
to
and
let
there's other problems facing the football team. I mean, we don't know what Chris Rodriguez's status is, and it's not like they have a few weeks to warm up like they did last year. They got Florida in week 2, so they have their own stuff to handle instead of this melodrama between programs.
But you do have to say they were very impressive in the Bahamas.
I agree. I think Antonio Reeves is exciting. I am really. I mean, he is a force from beyond the arc, and he can really read the court well. I was also impressed by Damian Collins. I mean, I don't know anyone who can come out of that and not be like, okay, Damian Collins is the guy. Right there with Sheboy. So I was very impressed with their performance out there in the Bahamas.
The two I thought played, the Wallace kid and Livingston. They caught my eye right off the bat. So athletic and so strong. I mean, can can get up and down the floor. I ain't seen athleticism like that in a long time. Not at UK. I mean, and then plus you got to remember the 7-1 dude will be with them when they get ready to start in October. So many pieces still to be added to that. What they did in the Bahamas, there could be a lot of. They may not be bouncing out in round one. They could be in contending for a national title. I first of all have to give you a lot of credit, big guy. You and Courtney did an unbelievable job of your sports from April to July. You guys found some stories to keep everybody interested. You did. I mean, I have to give you guys credit. Sometimes there's just not a story. There's just not nothing out there you can, but I have to give you credit. You guys did a good job of just keeping the sports, keeping everybody interested until we got to the pigskin previews, and now everybody's interested. Everybody's back to reform, ready to go, ready for sports overtime on Friday night, ready for the pigskin preview on Thursday. I mean, everybody's fired up and ready to go.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we wouldn't be possible if there weren't good stories to tell out there in the first place. Actually, the one that sticks out in my mind, Courtney did, Paul Andrews' story about the 40th anniversary of the shot. She did a fantastic job on that story. I had the great privilege of talking with BB King as he was retiring, and we had a lot of good stuff going on this off season, and we're ready to get back out on the football field.
Yeah, I know. Courtney said last night. She said, "I'm ready to be on any field. I don't care what destination's at. I'm ready to be on a football field." And I said, "I bet John is too. I mean, he's ready to get going." We'll start with the game of the week. Shelby Valley, Letcher Central. This should be a nice ball game. This was last year, I believe they played. I believe this was a runaway. Am I correct? Yep. Shelby Valley run away with it. Beat Letcher pretty bad down there. Letcher beat Shelby Valley pretty bad. I'm sorry. But Shelby Valley's a little more experienced this year. So let's talk about this game. Game of the week. It's at Letcher Central. It's gonna be a big atmosphere. People need something to do to not think about the flooding. So what are we seeing here as we go into your first game of the week?
Well, this is actually the first game of the week we've decided that has absolutely nothing to do with football. In my opinion, there was no other game we could have done. Pikeville Corbin is obviously a fantastic game. Out of the Cumberland Falls Classic, but with what the people in Whitesburg, Neon, Jenkins, Isom, anywhere in Letcher County, Virgie, Dorton, down in the Shelby Valley area, Shelbyana, I think got a little bit of it too. Like that has to be the game. It has to be the game. Letcher Central, we're going to air their pigskin here in a couple of days. They didn't even know if they were going to play week one. They actually took a vote to play week one. I mean, even Junior Matthews was on the fence, and they voted to play. A lot of those guys still don't have a place to live, and they're basically going in every day. They're helping out their neighbors, and they're going to football practice. I would imagine Shelby Valley is in a similar situation, and they just played Pikeville last night in a scrimmage. In terms of a game, I think the winners are the ones that are playing, and it's all of them.
Yeah.
And there's a line from We Are Marshall. I remember it doesn't matter how we play the game, whether we win the game, it's that we play the game, and that's what this game is all about. And I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about Tanner. Are you calling that game? I believe you are.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of that stuff, and there's just there is no shortage of stories from that game and the players involved and the fans in the stands and just the venue itself, which has been used the last couple of weeks to distribute food, toilet paper, clothes, whatever. That's what this game is all about. In terms of actual football, I think it'll be very competitive. Shelby Valley, like you said, much older. Russ Osborne is a force offensively. Letcher Central, they bring back some weapons. They don't have Ison or White. What was his name? White Ison, I believe, and Carson Adams. But I mean, the foundation is there for Letcher Central to have a good team. They're a lot more they're not like Johnson Central, but they're a lot more like Johnson Central in that they are beginning to hit the reload status of their program. So should be a fantastic game. I think, whoever has the ball last in that game wins the game. That's just my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of emotion in that game too with the flood, with them thinking about the flooding and everything going on. I would guess there'll be donations still be poured in, stuff that'll be still be bringing to the game that they can give for donations to the people that need it. So that's going to be I'm with you though. That was no doubter of the game of the week. I'm interested with several games. You mentioned the Pikeville Corbin game. I'm going to give you my top 10. And I know you can't give me yours until Thursday night when you guys have your pigskin preview.
Well, I can tell you the teams. I can tell you the teams that are in it.
Well, I think I know most of them, but there was probably one or two I missed that you didn't. But here's my top 10. I have Perry Central at number 10. I think with Kaiser Sloan and the receivers they've got, they're going to throw it all over the place, and they're going to be exciting to watch. I got Breathitt County at number 9. The status of are they going to play a home game at all this year? The same stuff they're going through, what Letcher Central's going through. How are they going to be? What kind of mind frame are they going to have? I got them at number 9. I got Letcher Central at number 8. I got Bale at 7. Middlesboro at 6. I got Southwestern at number 5. I got Corbin number 4. I got Belfry number 3. I got Johnson Central number 1. And I got a shadow of a doubt, Pikeville is the number 1 team in the mountains, hands down. They have got the fastest backfield I have ever seen a Pikeville team have. Trevon Borkins is an unbelievable quarterback. And plus, you got to remember they had the running back come back. I mean, I've seen some highlights from when they scrimmaged. It was defenders had no chance to try to tackle them.
Oh, I mean, and we saw that last year when he was at Pike Central. I mean, he had that cut ability, that that B button on the Xbox controller, kind of mobility, and I mean that'll be fun to see at Pikeville and see how that is built around the strong running back core they have, and they have a good receiving core. I mean, Pikeville is about as close to a perfect program as you can have, without. States is theirs to lose. From where I stand.
Did you like my top 10? Mm-hmm. Did you like my top 10? But
I did.
Pretty soft.
I don't know about Breathitt. Breathitt was one of those they were on the fence. North Laurel was another one of those teams we weren't sure.
Yeah.
Williamsburg was another on the cusp of being in the top 10. But here's our top 10, not in order. Yeah. And the only reason I'm giving you this is because anyone can figure it out. If you go into the pigskin preview schedule, you just figure out which ones aren't listed, and those are the 10.
Yeah.
So in alphabetical order, it is Belfry, Bell County, Corbin, Hazard, Johnson Central, Knox Central, Middlesboro, Pikeville, Pulaski County, and Southwood.
See, you had Knox Central in there, and you had Hazard in there. I almost put them in my top 10, but the reason why I didn't, I thought Perry with Kaiser Sloan in there with their weapons they've got, and I think Breathitt's got now they got a reason to play for the flood victims. They have more of a reason now to play, and I think that's why like I said, we don't even know if they're going to get to play on their home field. I mean, they're scheduled to play a home game on Friday night, but is their field safe enough? I mean, are they? Because I know they ain't letting them practice on it or do anything near it. So, I mean, I don't. Are they going to be able to? Are they going to have to move that game to McGoffin County, or what's going to happen?
I've actually texted Kyle Moore today. I still don't know. Now, as far as I know, with them practicing at EKU and practicing at Madison Southern, and Holcomb opened that up for them. That was just to kind of let everything clean out and kind of dry out. As for them playing a game there, I mean, I'm going forward as if they're playing there, which is one of those, even that was kind of on the fence of being game of the week. If they play there with the damage they sustained, that's a perfectly valid game of the week. I mean, that right now, as far as I know, they're playing at Breathitt County this week. And we'll have highlights.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they get to play because I mean that would be good for the kids. But I know they had so much damage on that field that there could be some safety reasons why they couldn't play there. You got to make sure.
In a way, I feel like it's poetic that it's McGoffin County that they're playing, who's a program with they're no stranger to disaster. Not recently, obviously, but that's a program that they're familiar with that kind of problem.
And on that note, that's a good point that John brings up. And on that note, the McGoffin County girls basketball team won the 15th region right after the tornado outbreak happened and destroyed so much of that town. Of course, there weren't any fatalities, thankfully, in 2012 in McGoffin, but still widespread devastation like you're seeing in some of these communities. So I think that's an apt analogy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And, they have the team to do it.
I remember that tornado well. Me and my wife was at the Hampton Inn in Hazard. We were ready to go to the 14th region girls basketball tournament down at Jackson, and they had canceled all games in all regions because of the tornado threat. And then we're watching that tornado just go through there. And me and my wife said, "Oh, where are we going to go?" So we stayed at the hotel that night, so we wouldn't be in the path of any wind damage or anything. Then the pictures the next day didn't tell any justice to how that tornado ripped through there and damaged that whole town. So, but you know what? You see now they've built back, and they're getting back to was it 10 years ago? About 10 years ago, 2012. So they're building back. So that's great to see. And it's just natural disasters are part of life, but we just don't like them. And I can't. It broke my heart. I don't know if you heard the story I told Tanner that I've been part of flooding before. I know how that feels. I woke up in the middle of the night, 2:30 morning, water over my head. Don't know if I'm gonna get my brother, sisters, mom, dad out of the house. We have to climb up a hill, and our house flooded. So I know we lost a lot in our lifetime, but I had my family, and I could build on that. And I had God to lean on too. So I understand what they're going through. I understand what everybody's going through.
And on top of just the initial damage and the initial cleanup and the initial trauma, you have to figure out what this means for your day-to-day life. Look at the schools in Letcher, Perry. They have to postpone and they have to push back. They've already had to do that for 2 years through COVID. And, have kind of like abbreviated school, and then you have living with the trauma of the situation you just described of waking up to water above your head. I remember actually when I was a kid, one of the people I went to middle school with moved to West Virginia because of Katrina, and he couldn't swim because he didn't want to anymore. He was so traumatized by that experience that he couldn't even go to the swimming pool. So you're going to have, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that now. And, that's the thing I think Brian Milam, he was here, and that's the way he described it. It's you got the initial disaster, and then it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's but on the flip side of that coin, it has been nothing short of amazing to see how everyone has banded together here, and to see how people who have any connection, and to see the people who have any connection to Eastern Kentucky come back that maybe don't live here anymore, and see that. So I mean, that has been very uplifting to see. It's a shame that it took this to have it, but it's been very uplifting to see.
Yeah, we've mentioned all three events: the shooting in Floyd County, the tornadoes in Mayfield, and then now the flooding here in Eastern Kentucky. When Eastern Kentucky's had a tragedy or something bad go wrong, everybody's bonded together and been there for everybody in all three situations. And I think that just shows what true Kentuckians are.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't put it better.
Agree.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the pigskin preview will be Thursday night, 7 p.m. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yep. WYMT right after the news. You can also watch it on WYMTV.com. Tanner, you got anything you want to tell No Name John?
No, we'll let John get out of here. He's got a busy week ahead, and probably has a sports cast to do tonight, or some sleep to get, or both. And I feel guilty getting excited for high school sports because of all the devastation that's still out there in the community, and certainly football or any athletics. It's not the most important thing in the world right now. And yes, it is a distraction, but it's more than that. It's a rallying point for the community. It's a way for us to signal that this thing's not going to beat us, that we're going to come back from it. And it's a way for us to kind of throw a counter punch at to the punch that's been thrown to so many people. So, I think you're capable of walking and chewing gum. You can do both things, right? You can honor those we lost and mourn and recognize the seriousness of the situation, but at the same time, you can also let yourself enjoy something that's meant to be enjoyed in a high school football game. So I think that will be the attitude, not only this Friday night, but at least for the first few weeks of this high school sports season.
The way I see my job right now, and I think it would be reflected in Courtney and Nate, and you guys will meet Nate at some point in the season as well. He's been doing a great job so far the last couple months since he's been here. But the way I see it is, if for 3 minutes every time I get up on Studio B and in the studio and do my sports hit, if I can get you to not think about what's happened, then I've done my job. If you're getting mad at me because I left your team out of the top 10, that's fine for me. That means I did my job. Yeah. So that's how we're kind of carrying this right now, and we can't ignore what happened, but we can move forward from it, and that's the great thing about Eastern Kentucky sports is that it's not like it's not like Belfry fans didn't already love Belfry. It's not like they didn't already unite around the football team. So, or Letcher Central or Shelby Valley or Perry Central or Hazard or Breathitt County. So, or not County Central. And talk about a team that really needs something, not County Central, because they had the flood damage and they had a teammate pass away. So, they're actually having a memorial service this Friday. So, that's kind of what we're gonna do, and hopefully at the end of the season we'll have a trophy or 2 or 3 or 4 to celebrate. So
yeah.
So I don't remember what the question was, but there was your answer.
Okay, well, we'll let you go, Mr. John. You'll be back with us next week. Hopefully, we'll break down week 0A is what I'm calling this week, because I get confused because there's. If you count the weeks, there's 12 weeks. So I call this week 0. They say it ain't week 0, but officially it is, because week 1 is next week. So, but I call it week 0A. So that's what I call it. But we'll talk with your guys' first top 10, some of the bigger games that you saw, highlights of those, and we'll have another good show, hopefully. tune in to John and Courtney on Thursday night with the Pigskin Preview, 7 p.m. on WYMTV and WYMTV.com. Also, Friday night, the season premiere of Sports Overtime.
One other thing I want to brag about is that Sports Overtime is going to look a little different this year. New graphics. It's going to look totally different than it has been the last few years. So we're really excited about that. We have a new sports reporter coming in, and he's going to be a part of things, and he's going to, at some point in the season, do some live shots for us and be on location, and it's going to be a little different this year, but we're excited.
Hopefully we can get Nate on. Maybe we can get Nate on the show later in the season as we progress along. Because you and Courtney, I like when you guys can rotate weeks. Sometimes Courtney has computer problems, but we keep her closer to the internet. We can get her in there because I like to talk to Courtney. She's very, very knowledgeable. She's just like you, John. But again, hats off to you guys. You guys did a tremendous job this past summer and getting us through without any really big sports, but you guys did enough to keep us entertained, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, John. John Lowe from WYMTV Sports Director. Always love having John with us. Let me go ahead and let Taylor give his final thoughts here in a second. Let me go ahead and close the show out with my closing thoughts. I want to thank everybody that watched the show. I want to thank everybody that made calls or left comments. Taylor's better half. I'm gonna have to keep her. She's going to have to be my leading comment person. I like it when she's in there. I keep an eye on her. I know what she's doing. I want to thank my guest, John Henson. Always love having John. Max Johnson. What a guest Max was. Good young man. Chris Larker, always full of excitement, and him, and of course John there. I want to thank Tanner. As I said, I'll let him give his final thoughts in just a moment. I will be back with you next Sunday night, August 21st, episode number 2 of the CJ Howard Show, 8 p.m. My co-host is going to be the main man from Jenkins, Winston Lee. I know Winston has been extremely valuable to the flood people and helping out down there in Jenkins. I know he there for about a 5 or 6 day stretch was. I don't think he got to go home because he was doing so much with the flood victims and helping out. So he's going to be my co-host next week. We'll talk to him about some stuff he saw and stuff. We'll go from there. We'll have a great guest list and we'll have much, much more. I also want to remind everybody, go check out my Facebook page, The CJ Howard Show. I want you to like it and I want you to share it. Share it with your family and friends. Let's get that out there. It's already been doing a pretty good job, as you can see. But as I said, I could not put it on my regular Facebook tonight because I want to keep it on my show page. But we'll keep doing that. Also, I've got a YouTube channel. Go check that out. Give me 1,000 subscriptions, and I can do a lot more live stuff over there as it is. Tanner, go ahead and give me your final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
CJ, thank you for having me on to co-host, and the first show of the year to be asked to do that is very special, and that's an honor for me. So thank you. And I want to encourage anyone who's listening, if you have the means to do it, get out and volunteer at one of these shelters or for one of these organizations providing flood relief efforts in Eastern Kentucky. Some of them you can fill out a form online, a volunteer form, and they contact you and they tell you to come in. But honestly, just show up. Show up and bring whatever you have, whether it's just to drop off a donation or stay for a few hours to help some people clean out their house or unload trailers or deliver supplies and water. Every little bit makes such a momentous difference in these people's lives. And, personally, it's one of the most fulfilling things you can do. I know I don't have to tell people that. I'm preaching to the choir here in Eastern Kentucky because we just have that gene in us to want to help each other in times of crises. But this is an unprecedented time of crisis around here. And it's going to require a proportionate response to be able to help some of these people get their lives back to some semblance of normal. And in the midst of all that, here we are starting the high school football season. And I'm honored to be back behind the microphone. On a personal level, I have this day job now that keeps me pretty busy in the courtrooms of Eastern Kentucky, and I certainly am honored to be able to do that as a full-time career now. But there's still nothing like getting out to a high school football field on a Friday night in the fall in Eastern Kentucky, and for me to be able to get behind the microphone and document this historic game between Shelby Valley and Letcher Central, two teams of two communities, especially Letcher County, just devastated by this flooding, and to be able to be the person who provides the captions for that game on Friday night, that's a real honor for me. It's something I don't take lightly. It's something I plan on preparing thoroughly for, and I'm looking forward to that, and hope folks can watch that. I'll be behind the mic for the Pike County Bowl the following weekend, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. CJ, thanks so much for having me on tonight. It's been a privilege to come on and talk about a cornucopia of topics, most notably high school sports.
Do not leave me after we get unlive because I got some things to say off the air.
Okay.
Again, I want to thank Tanner. Tanner's awesome. I'll be ringing his doorbell again sometime in October or November for another co-host. I can always depend on him. Again, if you have got donations and you want to leave them, please leave them with your local area in where you live. If you live in Letcher County, Knott County, Perry County, Knox County, if you live in Leslie County, if you live wherever, please donate. They need a lot of cleaning supplies. They need money donations. And please do that. If you happen to be going to a football game Friday night, take a donation with you and see if that particular home school is taking donations. You can give to those schools, but they'll get back to the people they need it. So please continue to do that. There's other ways you can give too as well. Also want to remind everybody, I didn't remind everybody, if you want to watch the big three, Terry Central, Hazard, and Leslie County, you can hear their football games, I think, on the radio come Friday night. You can hear the Hazard Middlesboro game on WSGS Power 101. You can hear the Perry Central Whitley County game on 104.7 WJMD. And you can hear the Leslie County Martin County game on 97.9 WGQQ. So don't want to forget about that as well. Again, I want to remind everybody, tell your loved ones that you love them. You may never, if you go away and never tell them that, you'll regret it because you may never get to see them again. This is CJ Howard, rounding third, heading for home. I love you all. God bless, and good night.